Hey everyone, welcome to another Open Cluster Management Community meeting. Today is March 3rd, 2023. We have two topics on the agenda. The first topic is about consolidating all the code, the core components into our OCM repo. And then the second topic is Shujao. Shujao's gonna go over the code coverage again. So, Kijang, please take it away with the first topic. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is I think we discussed this before about so about whether we should have main repos on the community. So as you know that we have multiple repos to maintain the code for the runtime. Like we have the registration, the work placement, and they serve different APIs and have different functions. Kind of independent component, but it has some benefit, like you can basically maintain the codes independently, and you can deploy each component independently, and it doesn't need to we initially think it's a good way because it's separated component, but with our work, several current progressing work today, like we have a manifest work replica set that actually is a combination of the work and the placement. So it consumed the work and placement API, so it basically needs the two component to work together to make it work. But we currently put the manifest work replica set code in the work repo, but it also depends on the placement repo. So it generates some dependencies between the two things. And also for the add-on framework, it's the same thing. It has some dependencies on the other things like registration and work. And since we are starting to put things like the rollout strategies and install strategies for the add-ons, it's starting to also depend on placement and the whole operator to correctly work. So, and all the things becomes very like there's cross dependency, and it is become very difficult to do the E2E test, because if we change some things on the work, it might impact the registration operator part, or it might impact the add-on framework. And if we change something on the placement repo, it might impact work repo and add-on framework repo. And we only running the E2E test in the placement doesn't help. We have to doesn't help because we don't know whether it's hard to know whether this change will break the work and the other, for example, work and other add-on framework repos. So that's the main concern that we have today. So also there was some discussion like there were some like questions from the Slack or the issues about what's the main repo, because we have multiple repos and it is hard to track how the whole system works. And they need when a user or contributor want to fix some things, they need to maybe go to several repos and to, for example, change the API and then change some things on the registration and then change some things on the registration operator to make the whole system work. And it's not quite welcomed by based on the in the perspective of the contribution. So I think one thing that we could do is we could consolidate the code of these repos into one repo that is maintained by the OCM repo, which is currently our main entry point. So in OCM repo, we can build the binaries of the registration work placement and operator and even class ADM separately, and we can also optionally build them together as a one big binary. So that and also for the add-on framework, we also can split the code for the current work that we have the add-on manager into the OCM repo, and leave the add-on framework only for the library that kind of other component that other add-on can leverage, but they don't need to consider about the all depends on the code for the add-on manager. So that's the main things. And after that, if we can do that, we can archive those independent repos, and then we can start the contributions mainly on the OCM repo. So finally, ideally, we will have 3 repos. One is API repo. We will still make it separated because most of the many components depend on the API, but not on the runtime. And the OCM repo is mainly the runtime component. And also the framework part, it's about the library to integrate with to build up the add-on. So and that's all. I think we have some benefit. We currently have multiple webhook, like we have a registration webhook, work webhook, and probably we will have the add-on webhook. But with this one single repo, we can put them into one webhook container and all use the same like same pod and use a different endpoint. So that could be easier to maintain. And we can build hub and agent as a single binary. For example, today when we running an agent, we need to run the operator, and the operator will start the registration and work. So at the minimum, there will be like 3 deployments and maybe 9 pods in your cluster to start the core agent. But if we build them together, probably we only need 1 deployment, and yeah, so that could reduce a lot of things, a footprint on the agent side, on the managed cluster side, and on the hub side, we also can make the whole control plane at the one whole binary, so that also help to reduce the footprint. So another big benefit is we can easily do the E2E test. So it is much easier to do E2E test for the whole core component to avoid any breaking changes. And also the last thing is, if we have the main entry point and the code is there for the newcomers and new contributors, it's much easier for them to get the idea of the project, and for us, it's also easier for us to do the issue management, and for the user, it's easier to start to contribute. So I think that's all. Any questions or concern about this?
No, I think this is a great idea. I think we should definitely go for it. I don't have any other concern besides that.
Actually, one comment is that can we draw a picture to show after the consolidated to one repo, how many deployment will be in the hub, how many deployment in manager cluster side, and maybe also have how many image after we consolidate the component into the OCM repo will be built from that repo. It is not clear from the description right now.
Okay. Yeah, I can put a diagram in this issue. So it's more like a comparison diagram, like before and after, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I just read that the rename comment. So from capital OCM to lowercase OCM, if we rename, is it possible to rename? And if we rename it, we'll keep all the stars, right?
Yes, I think so. I think if we do the rename, if you still use big capital, it will be redirected to this one I mean to the renamed repo.
I see, I see. You are, yes.
Yes, and also the history for this repo is kept.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm concerned is about the commit history. I discussed with Trini actually like what the E2 has been done on that. Because E2 previously also have separate repo, and later they consolidate all the things into one single control plane. I mean, one single binary. So they have a same experience. Uh, so I mean, if we merge all the code into the OCM, I actually don't know whether we can maintain the commit history of each separate repo when we do that, or we'll lose those history. So that's the only thing that we need to test. I think Xue may have something to.
Yeah, I pen I tried it with a Stack Overflow post. So if anyone is interested, you can link this OCM core repo. It has the same commit history uh, from uh, from registration operator and the registry. Uh, and the commit number is exactly the same with the original repo. So maybe it won't be an issue in terms of committed history.
So it does both projects commits just stack on top of each other and then organized by dates? Because
Yeah,
oh, okay. No, that sounds good. At least we keep the commits history, but I guess we lose the PRs. The PRs
yeah.
will need to be referenced back in the old archive repo.
Yeah. Okay, if there is no other comment, I will stop the sharing. We will start to do some experiment. I don't think we can do it in this coming release, but I hope that we can make it work in like in the next release.
Thank you, Kujan.
Thank
And
you.
I think it's a little bit dangerous exercise as well if you think about what we're actually doing, right? We're
Yeah.
we're essentially grabbing all the codes and moving them and then building brand new stuff altogether. So I think it should be an effort that take a little bit a longer period of time just to make sure we don't break anything. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Kijang, for that discussion. I think next up is Shuzhao. Shuzhao, do you want to share your screen and talk a little bit about the code coverage? Thank you. We can see your screen, but we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yep, we can
Uh,
hear you.
Okay, so this is a follow-up of a previous topic about how to end code coverage on our repos. Some background is we want to improve code quality, but we don't want to set a high bar that would block contributors. Then we found Codecov. It has a good UI and easy to configure, support 5 branded coverage status. And most important is it support dynamic Git. So last time I demoed one pull request, but we want to see more cases in different coverage change situation. So now we have this. In the first pull request, I set the in the first pull request I set set up the code coverage, and you can see the bar is 1%. So if the pull request decrease the coverage number 1%, more than 1%, it will be blocked. Okay, so you can also see after setup we can see the numbers and you click the film link, you can see exactly how many lives are covered, and yeah, some of them are not. It will be colored by red. Okay, so the next PR is if we decrease the coverage number more than 1%. Let's see here. Okay, so the overall decrease is 2.8, and in this card it also has details of the films which are impacted and the decrease number in each films. Okay, because the overall decrease is more than 1%, so we can see here it is projected by Codecov, so you cannot merge it by label look good to me. But in another pull request, you can see the overall code coverage change is less than 1%. So it's all checks have passed, so you can safely merge it. So if this process is okay to us, I think we need one org owner to enable Codecov by set up in Codecov, click with manage access restriction, and it will lead you to a GitHub page, and you can give the access to Codecov. And because of Codecov don't require token for public repos, so we don't need to set up any token. And okay, and I think in the document, well, simply say the there is an informational mode, like no protection, and no bars, just the information of code coverage changes. So I think it's also a good start point if you don't want anything to block contributors. Yeah, that's all. Any questions?
Thank you, Shujao. Patrick, sorry to pick on you, but do you have any comment?
That is completely fair to pick on me. I think that since it is relying upon, it's looking at public repositories, it shouldn't be given any more permission than is necessary. I would have to get back to you with a more detailed response, but it doesn't come to the top of my mind as a organization not to trust data with.
Maybe we can copy, I don't know details, but maybe we can copy OpenShift model. I see OpenShift is using Codecov to analyze their coverage. So maybe they have some experience we can learn from.
Yeah, that's the best course of action. Get some reference and they know how to, I'm sure, set it up with all the proper access controls.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. That was a really good feedback. Anyone else? Is there any plan on or any timeline regarding when we can start using the Codecov?
I think I think we can enable Codecov, and the repo owners can decide by themselves when is a good time to adapt Codecov in their repo. Or we set a plan for everyone. I don't know.
No, I think what you suggested in the beginning makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Shujao.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? Okay, it seems not. Kujang, any last minute topic that you want to bring up for this week's community meeting?
No, thanks. Oh, just one thing that we built a but it's more on China region, that we built a WeChat group. So I also share the WeChat group barcode in the Slack channel. So anyone is interested is welcome to join the WeChat group.
I want to add that to our community page as one of the lists to get connected. Is it possible to get a URL or
I need to explore
Okay.
it. So currently it's a 7 days expired code. So after 1 week it will be expired. So I need to check whether it is possible that we have a more like a permanent link or something.
I'm not a heavy WeChat user. Is it like a Slack where you can join a channel like that, or it's very hard to find? Like how do you search? How do you search if I don't have the actual URL or I don't have the image for the WeChat? How do I find Open Cluster Management? Is there a search?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right then. Yeah, I'll look into that. Don't worry. I'll try to see how we can Or maybe I'll just mention it on the community page. We have a WeChat, and then yeah. Anyways, anything else, Kucheng?
Nothing good for me. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining this week's community meeting. I'll give you guys 15 minutes back. Thank you. Take care. Bye.